Well, it's a great day to be a Bulldog. It's an exciting time of year. You get through the grind of a season, of an SEC season, and you're fortunate to be 11-5 again. And today we were certainly excited about the honors that our young ladies received. Dominique Dillingham on the all-defensive team. That's about 2 years late. Tierra McCowan on the all-freshman team, and Victoria Vivian's first team all-SEC. So, you know, those kids would all tell you they couldn't do it without their teammates, and that's very true. But it's a very, very satisfying and gratifying time for us, and again, just excited about the opportunity on Friday night. Don't know who will play, but to be able to reward our kids with a double bye and allow them a little extra day is certainly a good thing. And again, we know what it's like to play on Friday night. We'd like to know we'd like to experience Saturday and Sunday as well. So that's our goal this year. And if you can get through the SEC tournament, you can get through that next one without a doubt. So excited about the week. Really proud of our kids. Again, really proud of our team. Been really blessed with a great group of kids. And so we'll see what the rest of the season holds.
You mentioned the double bye. Obviously, we get a weekly update of how many players you got in boots. I imagine this is good to have a little break going into it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, yesterday obviously we took the day off. Today's typically our heavy day where we lift and do film, and we have a pretty good day on the court. So, yeah, 4 boots. We're still in 4 boots. Jazz, you know, popped her head again on Sunday. She's being evaluated again today. Morgan's leg is still Morgan's leg. It has its good days and bad, its good weeks and bad. Hopefully we're kind of on the downside of the bad, but every now and then it flares up. So we continue to battle the injuries, and you know, you're never going to be 100% this time of year. But I need our little engine that pulls the train. I need her full speed, and we're getting closer.
What's it mean for Victoria to get first team all-season?
Well, I think it's a progression from last year. You know, she's second team last year. I think people recognize and realize that for us to be successful, Victoria's got to score for us. And she's always going to get their other team's best defensive game plan, not to mention their best defensive player. So all those people that are on the defensive team, hey, Victoria Vivians can probably tell you what flavor gum they're chewing. So, you know, I think it's again, I'm pleased for her. It's something that we talked about in the preseason. It's been hard. It's been a challenge. Let's put it that way. She's been challenged weekly, every game, and she's answered that challenge on most nights.
What's different about your team compared to last season at this point? Because there's so many similarities between, you know, seed, record, wins, things like that. But just talk a little bit about the differences of the team from year to year.
Well, I think number one, we're younger. You know, we're younger and less experienced. Sometimes that can be a good thing, though. But I do think we're younger and probably have a little less, you know, obviously less experience. Our depth is very young. I think that's probably the biggest, even getting more specific. Our depth is very young, and so I've been very pleased with the progress of our young players. I think that's been the biggest key to our success. I said it early on with all the preseason prognosticators and all the preseason rankings. Do people realize we lost 4 seniors, and that we went from bringing 2 senior guards off the bench and starting a senior point guard to starting a sophomore point guard and bringing a freshman point guard off the bench and 2 sophomore wing players? I just didn't think people realized the youth of our team, and so I've been really pleased with those young players and their progression and how they've been able to allow us to substitute and keep some continuity through substitution. So, and then, you know, with Morgan, Tori, Dom, and those kids are all playing big minutes. Dom plays 38.5 minutes a game in the league. It's obscene. And you look at her now, and she doesn't take plays off. And you don't look at her right now going, man, that kid looks tired. Kid's tough. And so I think that would be a difference. And I think then the flip side of that would be going into this tournament. I think now we've got some kids that have been to that tournament. They know, they have a little experience. They had the taste of playing on Friday night and getting upset and beat. And so I don't think they want to, I think they'd like to have a chance to play on Saturday and Sunday too. And so hopefully they can realize, and we'll talk about it today, hey, we're going on a business trip. You know, we're going to Jacksonville. You know, it was a good thing. Adam, I'm glad we went back there and played back in December. You know, I think that was a good thing for us, playing South Florida. And so we'll have some experience in that building and have some confidence. So I think all that, you know, plays into our favor.
With all the youth you talk about, the injuries, still finished tied for second in the SEC. I think picked fourth preseason, if I remember right. You mentioned the other day how hard that is to steady, you know, keep up the expectations, but managed to pull it off.
Yeah, it's really quite amazing. And again, I give our kids and my staff all the credit. They've really worked hard all year long. If we've had a setback, we've always bounced back. We've been a pretty resilient bunch. I think we had two game losing streaks in conference, and each time we bounced back with 3 straight wins or more. And so I think that says a lot about the character of your team and a little bit about your moxie, you know. So, but it is, this league is so tough. You know, you start talking about everybody in our league and who's got bad losses, who's got good wins, you know, and, you know, you can get all tied up in the numbers. But the bottom line is, you know, maybe the team that's playing the best right now is the 5th seed in the tournament. You know, who's hot right now is Kentucky. You know, they're playing really well. South Carolina's played well and been able to get through it the whole year at 16-0. Man, that's really hard to do. You know, I say it all the time. I got 16 rivals. There's 16 rival games in this league. You know, that's every night is a rival game, it seems like. And you got to get up every night to play. And Dominique said it the other night. We're the hunted now. I mean, we got the bullseye on our back, and our kids have to prepare a different way than we did, you know, 2 years ago.
What's the challenge going into arguably the toughest part of the schedule in trying to put together a 40-minute game that you would feel comfortable with sitting up there saying that I thought we played our closest to a 40-minute game this season? Because I would argue that you've played maybe 30.
Yeah.
But there have been parts of other games where you've had stretches where scoring lapses, defensive lapses. But this is the toughest stretch of the season coming up, so that would arguably make that difficult to try to do. How do you feel about trying to do that?
Well, I think, you know, we talked about it as a staff, you know, if we're going to try to get, let's just say we average 62 something points a game. If we wanted to get to 70, where are we going to find 8 points? There's a couple places. Number one, in transition, I think we need to explore that a little bit more. We were getting more of that earlier in the year. Again, Morgan's injury affects that piece of the puzzle. Jazz came in the other night and did a nice job of getting our transition going, and she has an unbelievable motor. And that's what, you know, I think in the future she's just going to really be able to do. You remember how Morgan was the change of pace for us with JJ? And we were all excited about how fast Morgan played. Hey, Jazz is faster. And so I think now we're going to be going from fast to electric or whatever, you know, with those two. So I think that's really going to make it hard for people to deal with us in the future. But, you know, if we had to find 8 points, I think, again, we do a great job offensive rebounding, but we don't always cash in the stickbacks. So stickbacks, transition, and then I need to get my 4s unlocked a little bit. They just seem to be tied up a little bit. And so if we could get them unlocked a little bit and get them functioning at a little bit better level offensively, I think that's easy. I think that's easy to come up with, because here the fastest person that runs for us is Jazz and Bree. Bree at the 4 and Jazz at the 1. That's probably our 2 fastest players. And you know, I think that when you start looking at trying to add, where can we add points, I think those are places you can add them, and it doesn't take a lot. I don't think we got to work 2 weeks on any of that to figure out, hey, this is what we need to do. So those are areas that I think are accessible, maybe areas that we can get to a little easier and not really change a lot of things.
You mentioned going back to Jacksonville. Did you mention anything to the team at the time, like this, now
Absolutely.
we've been to this venue, we know
Yeah.
what it's like, we can take advantage of it in March maybe?
Absolutely. Yeah, that was the whole purpose of going there. And, we talked about this is where the conference tournament's going to be. And so, we've had a full practice in there. We've got a shoot around in there, and we've got a game in there. So it won't be a walk in and go, oh, wow. You look around because it is a big building. There's lots of room. And so, absolutely, that's really the reason we did it.
I have no doubt, like last year, there's going to be a healthy group of Mississippi State supporters there once the tournament starts. But what's the emotion or feeling that you have going in as far as the whole tournament? You're going east in a place where question the amount of support. It's not even an SEC city, really, to be honest with you. Are you curious? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic?
I think we're all optimistic. I think all of us coaches in the SEC are excited about trying anything new and different that will benefit our teams. All we want is our kids to play in front of people, really. That's what we're after. We're after the college student athlete experience. And so last year I think we had as many fans there as anybody, but the weather was bad. And so that really hindered the attendance, even of the locals there in Little Rock, because the roads were slick, it was ice, there was snow all over the ground. So the weather really played a factor. Last year I think we'd had a much better attended event. I think we're all curious, but I think we're all optimistic. I think Jacksonville's excited about hosting it. I think they, for the games tomorrow at 11 and 1:30, they've got elementary day. And so they're going to bring in 1,500 kids for that 11 o'clock game. And so I don't know if you guys have ever listened to 1,500 kids scream and holler, but it'll sound like there's 15,000 in there. And so that'll be a good environment, tomorrow for the first day. And so I think we're all excited about it. We're all anxious to see. But I think we're all still trying to find that perfect solution, for our tournament.
Do you feel like the game changes at all when you get to tournament play, or is it just the same game of basketball, 40 minutes, and just a little more pressure?
Yeah, I think it may change for some. I think that the less change you can have, you stay within your habits, you stay within your we're all creature of habits, when we go on the road. So I think the more you can stay to doing what you did back in January and February, the better chance you have. And again, I think the experience factor really comes in then about playing in that environment, playing with that excitement, and knowing that there's a little bit more on the line, immediate on the line. You're not playing now a season or a 16-game schedule. You're playing hey, if you're going to win this tournament, it's one and done. You got to win in advance. And so I think being able to function in that environment, that's what our league gets you ready for. And so I think our kids will be excited. I'm excited to go in there and play. And again, you're talking about an unbelievable tournament. I mean, if you can get through that gauntlet, you can certainly get through the next one.
You've been in this league and you've been in other leagues where, if I'm not mistaken, Oklahoma City was the host site for the Big 12 tournament. How does one Big 12 compare to the SEC in the time that you've been in the league, where you've been to multiple cities? You've been in Arkansas, you've been you're going to be in Florida. You've been in other places, but the tournament in the SEC has not had a fixed location to maybe sustain momentum.
Right.
How does one compare to the other?
Well, again, our challenge has been the central location. I think in the previous league, we've typically been in a pretty centrally located spot where all schools are not far, or they're centrally located. For us, it's always unless we have it in Houston, A&M's always going to be traveling. Now we're farther east where there's not a lot of schools that are close to there, and so we're all traveling. And so I think that's the challenge that we have right now is, do we go to Birmingham? Do we go to, we've talked about some other places, but it's not do we go, it's can they take us? You know, all these cities have state championship games going on, tournament, high school tournament games going on. You know, everybody'd love to go to Nashville, but they got the men, and they can't take it 2 weeks in a row because they got a hockey team in there that needs to play. So every place has its challenges, and I think what our conference offices tried to do is understand what the challenges are, and let's go attack it in the best angle that we can to provide. Again, what do the coaches want? We just want a great environment for our student athletes to compete in. We obviously want our fans to be able to travel, but we want those kids to have a great experience and play in front of a lot of folks. And so, you know, we tried, you know, were we in Dothan, where were we in?
Duluth, Georgia.
Huh? Duluth, Georgia, you know, there, in Little Rock, and now in Jacksonville. Where was that? Were we in Duluth twice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, you know, and we'll continue to explore options, but we'll just, you know, without going and playing on somebody's campus, you know, which I don't think anybody wants. I think it's going to continue to be a let's hunt and peck and see if we can't find a great solution, and then let's hunker down for a while and see if it'll work.
What about the possibility of ever playing in the state of Mississippi?
I don't know that that's ever been talked about. You know, we've not discussed in general. We don't discuss. I think we've probably talked about 2 or 3 states that actually have schools in them, but I don't know that Mississippi's been one of those states that we've talked about. Again, our main venue would be in Jackson, and that facility is just is not ready for us, and so you know, we'll see.
Plus, there's the political element too.
Possibly, yes.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank